We continue to see the games of Smyslov from two different books, this one written by Andrew Soltis and this one written by Andrei Terekov. Why do I use two books? Because we have seen that Soltis got something wrong with the father of Smyslov winning against Alekin and writing that it was in a simul, when in reality it was a tournament, and we discover it thanks to this book. Now, the interesting part is this. I'm reading both the biographies, stories, and I'm getting, obviously, checking if it's correct, right? The interesting part is that the father, Smyslov's father, had a great library in the house. And it seems he had something like 100 chess books. Now, for today, 100 chess books are nothing, right? Why? Because I have probably 100 chess books just in 4 bookshelves. But I live in a different world from 1910 and 1912. You understand, guys? In that time, to have 100 chess books must have been very, very expensive, very difficult to acquire. Instead, now I get most of my books with just a few clicks on a computer, right? Or, yes, when I go to a tournament and there are booksellers, or when I go to a chess club and they have some collections left to them by some other players. So clearly, if the father had 100 chess books, it's amazing, amazing. And it seems that Smyslov devoured them. He read them all. So as you can see, in order to become good, we must be kind of fanatics, right? If we really love the game and want to improve, there is no way that you improve without putting the time and the effort. In any case, I talk too much. Now let me show you a game by Smyslov that is kind of interesting. So this game was played in Moscow in 1935. It's called the Moskvorevsky Young Pioneer House. Kirill Gerasimov was white and black was Smyslov. It seems that this game was published in this weekly chess newspaper called 64. And the following game that you're going to see, it was published with the name in reverse. So Gerasimov was the one that was shown as winning and having black. But that wouldn't be correct. So in case you guys have that magazine, you could see this thing. In any case, Gerasimov opened with d4, Smyslov d5, knight f3, knight f6, e3. So this closes the diagonal for the bishop, e6, bishop d3, c5, and here there is b3. This is the Colle system, okay? Edgar Colle was the guy that played it, and the thing is, we have a book, right? I think you can see some videos on a book on Edgar Colle. So we are really lucky because, as you can see, we have a lot of chess biographies. Knight c6, bishop b2, and this is the interesting thing of this Colle system, because you say, oh wow, when it's blocked, you say, I don't like it, no, that it's blocked with that move. But now, in reality, he is exerting power, influence over the center from far, and pushing on this part. So it's kind of interesting, in my opinion, how the bishop starts to exert its action. Bishop d6, castle, queen c7, a3, b6. And here there is a beautiful move by white, which is c4. Why it's a beautiful move, in the book is not explained, but my opinion is that this gains space and attack the center. At this point, guys, you have a formation, a pawn formation that is very similar to the Tarrasch defense, right? So it's kind of interesting. How did Smyslov answer? With bishop b7, because again, you see that this blocks everything, so they try to develop on this diagonal. Why do I tell you to pay attention to that? Because if it happens in your games, you already have an idea, right? Here it says, Smyslov is playing common sense moves, but he would have been worse after 10 c takes d5. In view of e takes d5, d takes c5, and after it would have followed with bishop takes f6. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Okay. Let me pause a second, because this thing was interesting. I put the position back as it was. Okay, this is the position we saw a line, and now we continue with the game, which continue with knight c3. However, guys, in fact, this is the problem when there are all these pawns in the center, that you should need to pause and calculate this, or this, and it takes time. I advise you to try to do it a little, because it will show the complexity of the position. The game continues with knight c3, a6, so he doesn't want to lose the bishop pair, obviously, because you know, with these two bishop, and this is typical also of the Tarrasch defense, honestly, these two bishops that are pointing at this direction, they really become dangerous. Rook e1, and now, guys, try to do that exercise that I just told you. Try to guess what is the next move by black, because I tell you again, there are a lot of possibilities. C takes d4, E takes d4. What are you going to play? Smyslov played C takes d4, E takes d4, and castle. Knight a4, bishop f4, and here white made a mistake, which is knight e5. He tried to cut out the connection between the two. So what would you say there is, what do you think black is playing next? Also this, guys, it's really important that I ask you questions like this, also if obviously they don't ask you that in this book, because in this way you get the maximum from the book and from the video. So, for example, he played knight e5. Are you going to play knight takes e5? Are you going to play, I don't know, knight takes d4? Is a mistake, right? So you cannot play that. Or are you, because obviously one of the things you should think about are possible exchanges, right? Like d takes e4. Are you going to play that? So as you can see, there are possible candidate moves and you need to find the right one. Smyslov played d takes c4, and this is as an exclamation point, which makes me think it's a good move. B takes e4, and now there is another good move by black. What do you think black played? Black played knight takes e5. So why is this a good move? Because as you can see, the lines are opening, but the difference between the two is that black has a kind of attack. White has no attack at all, right? So after d takes e5, black played a beautiful move, which is queen c6. And how does white continue? White continue with bishop f1 because he didn't want to enter the endgame that would have made by this move. Okay, but unfortunately bishop f1 is not the right way, because now again black continue to gain advantage after advantage. And what is the advantage? It's the activity of the pieces, right? Like rook f d8, queen b3. And now what do you think black played? Black played knight g4. As you can see, knight g4 attacks h2 and e5 at the same moment, right? Here he played h3. Again, your turn, you're black. Try to guess what Smyslov played, because it's again a beautiful move, which is also we could say typical of the grandmaster level games, because they continue to attack, they don't retreat, they don't escape, they find always a stronger move, right? So here black played rook d3, and now obviously you cannot play bishop takes d3 because there is queen takes g2, checkmate. But what happens when you play queen takes d3? And this is what you have to calculate, right? The problem of queen takes d3 is the following: that black will play bishop h2 check, and the king cannot escape, he has to go here, right? And after there is knight takes f2 check, and pick up the queen. So I hope you were able to visualize that. I hope you found this amazing move, and if you didn't, well, it's something to think about, right? So what did white play here? White played queen takes b6. And again, I tell you guys, try to find the best move for black. Okay? The best move for black is rook takes h3. Now, obviously, you need to have calculated what happens if white plays queen takes e6. And that's a kind of a checkmate. That's why they call it Mr. Checkmate, right? After queen takes e6, there is bishop h2 check, right? He can only go here, and then there is knight takes f2 checkmate, because the queen has relinquished the control of f2, taking on c6. So taking on c6 is not the right thing to do. What should white do then? White needs at this point to try to keep control of f2, because we see what happens, right? And you cannot take here because there will be queen h1 checkmate. So after rook takes h3, that is a beautiful move, we have bishop d4 to try to take control and take there, right? But again, is not the way that one can win. What do you think black does to win here? It's bishop h2 check, and then there is king h1, and then bishop takes e5. Boom. And here it seems that white resigned. Why? You cannot take because this is here, right? But it's not finished. It's not finished. What do you think it happens when he plays this, right? Because there is the same thing. Boom. And then you have only here, right? Boom. And this is done. So that's why white resign. Here it seems that toward the end of Smyslov's life, they ask him which game of his he liked best. And they thought the answer would be something with Botvinnik, Keres, or some of the other top, like Rejewski. But in reality, Smyslov mentioned this game with Gerasimov. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game from this great book, and see you next time. Thank you again.